Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Winback and on today's episode we are going to be playing Lunara and we're going to be playing the build that you're not usually going to see on this character. That is going to be the theme for this week, playing builds on characters that don't really see a whole lot of play and trying to show you best how they work. So, with Lunara, we're going to be building for our Noxius Blossom, our Q, and we'll talk about that. But this is a YouTube video after all. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe your heart out. This is going to be the first of 4 this week, and we're on Blackheart's Bay. Just cannot express how much disappointment I have in that fact, but here we are nonetheless. The team comps are going to be Mal'Ganis, Abathur, Stukov, Garrosh, and Lunara versus Kira, Anduin, Nova, Butcher, and Muradin. So, enemy team has a little bit better comp than we do, if you're just looking at it purely from an objective standpoint. But our comp has so much protection for me, our big damage carry, deer, that I think we'll be okay. So Blackheart's Bay, obviously no one really knows how to split up the lanes, especially when you have an Abathur on your team. Typically, you're going to want one person down there in the bottom lane, and it should be one of our tanks, since we have 2 of them. I personally think Garrosh, because he's got the most effective build for that kind of thing, but at the same time, I'm not really going to tell anyone what to do. It's a quick match, live your life, play your game the way that you know how, and Abathur hopefully will make up for soaking in the bottom side there. Now, Lunara's abilities, we're going to start off with the pinnacle of the build, or no, the focal point of the build. It's called Noxius Blossom. It's got an 8-second cooldown, and after 0.5 seconds, we're going to cause an area to explode with pollen, dealing 173 damage. Oh my god, you might be thinking that's a pretty pathetic amount, but it is level 2, and that's going to couple with our trait. Now, Lunara's trait is the damage over time that you are seeing stack up on everybody that we are attacking with our abilities and our autos. It's called Nature's Toxin, and Lunara's basic attacks and damaging abilities poison their target, dealing 40 damage a second for 3 seconds, and then every additional application increases the duration by 3 seconds up to a maximum of 9 seconds. So 9 times 4 is what? 1836, that's 360 damage, right? Yeah, 360 damage if you have maximum stacks on people, and you just continue refreshing those stacks on people, the more that you auto-attack or deal damage with abilities to the same target. So, my team is just living for absolutely fucking ever, and it's really, really great. The Abathur on top of the double tank on top of the Stukov, it's nuts how much health we all have. Not to mention Abathur really kind of holding it down on the damage end of things while my big boys chase in there. So giving me plenty of time to walk over with my little deer feet. As Lunara, we do not have a mount. I'm sure you've noticed already, but we're just prancing about on our little deer toes, and that's going to be the Dryad Swiftness. Lunara moves 20% faster by leaping short distances, and in doing this, she's going to be hugely mobile in team fights and grouped up things. Oh, Abathur, I shall avenge you! Looks like Nova doesn't realize how bad she is at dodging. Nailed it. Can we get the Kira as well? She does have 5 coins. I would like to kill her, but I'm just going to block this stun for my Garrosh. I don't think I can save my Stukov. Luckily, he didn't have any coins in his pocket, so wasn't the greatest trade in the world. We did lose both our Abathur and our Stukov for just a Nova, but it's more about sending a message to the enemy team. And we're still soaking plenty in the top lane because Mal'Ganis is up there doing the right thing. I appreciate you, big man. Hanging out there. So our W is called Crippling Spores, and this ability is going to only be applicable when we have our trait already applied to people. So, enemies afflicted by Nature's Toxin have its duration increased by 3 seconds and are slowed by 40%, decaying over 3 seconds. Now, that 3 seconds, as you will remember, is 30% of the time that the maximum duration can be applied. Oh, are we going to get out? Can you hit me? I'm Prancy Little Deer. Oh, no, there's Murden. Missed one skill shot. Where's the stun? Looking for the stun. He's going to hit some mines and miss the stun, and I have the Abathur hat. Now I am no way worried about them catching up to me because they're all slow, regular people with only 2 legs. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So, anyway, Crippling Spores is going to basically stack 1 full stack onto your target with your trait. So, what that is going to mean for this build, once we start talking about that specifically, you're going to get 1 free stack from your W, which is going to help your Q do a lot more burst damage as those stacks increase. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be okay to use your W to apply a second stack very fast, and no one's going to yell at you for, you know, not holding on to your W for the longest amount of time. So our E is probably the most utility-based ability of our kit, and in doing that, it has absolutely no damage effect whatsoever. It's called Wisp, and you can't see the ability right now because when you use Wisp, the ability becomes Relocate Wisp, and you can tell it to go off in all sorts of directions. From there, you want to sit it mostly in a bush because our level 1 talent is going to be based upon giving it more visibility. And okay, that was 3 people asleep right there. I'm kind of confused why we didn't just immediately go for the Kira and kill her, but that's my bad, I guess. In that moment, I wasn't looking at my team doing whatever that they were doing. I thought that was pretty obvious, personally, but we'll let that go. Abathur looks like he might be in trouble soon, but the Butcher has been yoinked out before he can be killed after making his terrible decision. Now, Stukov's going to plant his arm in the middle of the enemy team, and that's a little bit upsetting. They're just going to steal a bunch of our lunch money, and we'll have to cope with that. Anyway, back to Lunara. Her ults, number 1, are going to be Thornwood Vine. It is the easy ult to play with. It's just a straight line skill shot. It gets 3 charges, and it's going to deal 251 damage to all enemies in a line. That's only at level 9, so the damage isn't negligible at level 10. But that's about it. Just gets 3 charges, does some damage, applies your trait. It's very safe, and the range is very, very long. But the one that everybody is going to love more than anything else, you've just seen it, it's the Leaping Strike. Lunara is going to go completely unstoppable, jumping over the head of her target, and in doing that, she is going to drop a spear down upon their head, placing some poison upon them and dealing a bit of burst damage. We get 2 charges of this ability. He's not going to live, Anduin. I'm sorry to tell you that, but you just killed both of you. Leaping Strike has 2 charges and is going to slow the target by 80% for 0.35 seconds. I guess that's to make sure that Lunara can jump over them accurately? Maybe? I'm not sure. And it's going to deal 417 damage while applying a single stack of your trait. So, you can see the damage is going to rack up really quick, and if you manage to get both charges on a single target, they are probably going to die. I'm just going to be honest with you, that is a lot of damage and trait application. So you're getting a bunch of burst and you're getting a bunch of dot damage. It's just awesome. So go with it, love it, pick it. I mean, it's everybody's favorite for a reason. We did have our Sentinel Wisp down in the bush here, which made Nova completely visible when she went in for that hyper risky play that she did there. And now we're going to take out both Nova and Kira because her team tried to go in there and save her from making bad decisions. I mean, kudos to them trying to help, but maybe just let her die next time. Just saying. So our level 1 talent, I just mentioned it, but Sentinel Wisp is going to, after leaving your Wisp in a bush for 5 seconds, the vision radius increased by 200% and it revealed the surrounding area. So that means that Nova, even though she's a stealth hero, since my Wisp was in that bush for long enough, she was revealed and got absolutely pounced upon. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for the Wisp talents for this build. There's only going to be one. And the rest are going to be centered around our Q ability, our Noxius Blossom. So, Blossom Swell at 4 is going to increase Noxius Blossom's range by 25% and its radius by 20%. And then Blossom Swell applies 2 stacks of Nature's Toxin to enemies hit. That is going to be really important because some of the build later on, the talents further down the line, are going to help this ability do a lot of damage, but they're all kind of based on the amount of stacks that you have on a person. So, at level 7, we're going to take Choking Pollen. Oof, just jumping directly in front of that butcher. I'm sorry. My little deer feet just can't let you go past that gate. That's not how it's going to work. Noxious Blossom deals 100% more damage to enemies affected by Nature's Toxin, increased to 150% against enemies with 3 stacks. So what I was mentioning earlier about getting a free stack with your W, with your Crippling Spores, is just going to put your Q in more of a position to deal extreme burst damage to a character with 3 stacks, because 1 auto, 1 W, and then your Q will put them in that range, and then absolutely slap them with a whole bunch of burst damage. You might have seen it. We do have the crit kickers going every time that we hit someone with a Q, but right now, I think if I remember correctly, the damage on that ability is right around 550 damage. We'll have to pay attention to it again, and it might just be right now. Okay, gonna hit him, there it is, 721. 721 with 1 Q after hitting him with an auto and a W, and that's a Meridian. So his health is just depleted. Hit him with another one, 721 damage again. Really fucking awesome how good the burst damage is on this ability. Now, our level 13 talent, we're going to take a defensive talent at this tier. We're picking up Greater Spell Shield mainly because the damage from Kira and Nova is the only damage that I'm really worried about. And having the Spell Shield to block the snipe, to block Kira's E and Q, her combo there, is going to be really important. The other things that we have the options to pick up here are going to be the increased spore or slow duration and the lack of decay. So it's going to become a 40% slow for 4 seconds that does not decay. Really, really good for holding people in place so you can hit them with your Q. But at the same time, like I said, I want to be able to live long enough to get all the damage out and hit as many Qs as possible. So we're going to stick with the Spell Shield. Never a bad pick. Could be less fun, for sure, but you can't ever go wrong. Our level 16 talent is going to be the pièce de résistance in the Q build. So, Accelerated Contamination is going to reduce the mana cost, which is kind of whatever. But while at least one enemy hero is afflicted with Nature's Toxin, Nature's Noxious Blossom, holy shit, cooldown recharges 75% faster. So the ability is on an 8-second cooldown. Reducing that by 75% is going to drop that bad boy into the realm of having our Q on basically anybody that we want to at any given moment. And seeing as how it's so easy to have our trait already on people, that cooldown should be recharging all the time. It's really very, very, very easy for Lunara to apply her trait with her autos, with her Q, with her R, and then keeping it on with her W. I mean, just it's perfect. And then with all the burst damage that we're getting from choking pollen, her talents and abilities are the most ridiculously difficult things to say over and over and over again. I am having a lot of trouble, but I'm having a lot of fun playing it, so here we are. He's got 3 stacks on him right now, so we're getting that big cooldown on our Q already. Got him with another one for 780 damage. Ugh. And if you look down in the bottom left corner, it was only about 4 seconds that we had to wait for our Q to come back, which is nuts. Just absolutely insane to my brain. Dealing that much damage on that short a cooldown feels real good. Now, our level 20 talent, let's see. The 20 tier, I think, is a little bit more up to you. You can kind of take The passive talents are definitely much better than the ult upgrade. That being said, getting both of your charges back at the same time isn't a bad thing, and being able to leap away using allies can definitely get you out of some sticky situations, but I think it's a little bit more niche than Intensifying Toxin. So at 3 stacks, we're going to deal 40% more damage, which would couple extremely well with our Q already dealing that ridiculous amount of damage, and it just gives us much more burst than we already have, even though we already have a huge amount of burst damage with our Q. So we're getting a charge cooldown back right now. We're dropping so many Qs directly onto the faces of the enemy team, and they cannot cope. Oh, it feels so good. Looks like we're just going to go for the end here. There's 3 people dead, no reason not to. Let's chase the Anduin all the way into his core. I don't even think we're going to make level 20, so I don't even get to make the decision between Intensifying Toxin and Galloping Gait. Galloping Gait is going to give you an activatable Z that makes you run quicker. And it's always really good in team fights when you want to be extremely mobile. Hello, Kira. Oh, no. Did you forget that I can jump over things and drop you directly off with your little spinny loopy thing? I don't think you did. Just going to make it on top of the core right before the game ends, as is Lunara tradition. If you're not playing Leaping Strike, this is really the only reason to do it, just so you can stand directly on your enemy's corpse at the end of the game. And there's an MVP, 6.5 out of 10. You're welcome. I mean, I did damage, for sure, but with all the front line on my team, it was really impossible for me to not do damage. And the enemy team had absolutely no way to get onto me, so thank you, Big Beefy Boys and Healy Guy, and then Slugman, who is not on the board. But here's the build again in case you need it. It is going to be Sentinel Wisp at 1, Blossom Swell at 4, Choking Pollen at 7, Leaping Strike at 10, Greater Spell Shield at 13, Accelerated Contamination at 16, and then 20 would be Intensifying Toxin or Galloping Gait, or if you're really in a position where you need to be able to jump away to allies, you can take up the ult upgrade. And I'm completely blanking on the name because I never pick it. There you go. That is going to start us off for this week. I will be back tomorrow. I do believe we have some Rhaegar gameplay in the store because I'm revisiting the Wolf build, which is the most fun in the entire universe. So I will see you there. Thanks so much for hanging out. GG's. Peace out.